Welcome to the Harworth Brass Podcast. With your host, Pete.
Hello and welcome to the Harworth Brass Podcast. I'm your host Pete, and whether you're a long-time supporter of the band, a fellow bandsman or bandwoman, or just someone who loves great music and great stories, it's brilliant to have you with us. This podcast is all about the people behind the music, the journeys, the memories and the impact that banding has both on and off the stand. In today's episode, I'm joined by someone whose journey with Harworth Brass started at a young age while still at school and has come full circle in a really special way. We'll be talking about how those early days in the band helped build confidence, shaped his musical path, and set him on a journey that's taken him to a wide range of banding experiences. Later on, we'll also hear about life beyond Harworth Brass, including the bands he's played with, how music has influenced his working life, and what it feels like to return to the band now as a regular dep, especially while living over in Nottingham. So, let's get into it. This is the Harworth Brass Podcast, and I'm delighted to be joined by Daniel Whitt. Welcome, Daniel.
Hello, Peter. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. So we'll start in this part one is like the beginnings, banding, and like you're building your confidence. So obviously it's great to have you on. Can you give us just a quick intro? You know, who are you? What do you play? How long have you been playing for?
So yeah, my name is Daniel. I've been playing since, well, I joined Harworth in 2009. But I picked up my first instrument when I was 10 years old. So I've been playing for 18 years now.
So yeah. Going on to that, what was your first instrument that you picked up?
So my first instrument I picked up was the cornet. Back in 2008, I had just lost my last baby tooth. So you weren't allowed to pick up an instrument until all your baby teeth had fell out. So all my baby teeth had fell out, and a lady at the local church went, right, come on, your last baby tooth fell out, time for you to pick up an instrument. So she gave me a cornet, and I got a note out of it, and that was when I was 10. And then from cornet, whilst I was still at the church, there was space on tenor horn, so they passed me a tenor horn. Then they're like, do you want to try something bigger? I tried a euphonium, couldn't get a note out of it, it was a bit big for me. So then I went back to tenor horn, then we had an influx of tenor horns. So within like 2 months of blowing an instrument, I changed it 3 times. But then I stuck with cornet for most of the time. So yeah, my first instrument was a cornet back when I was 10.
Wow. So you started with Harworth Brass while still at school. So how did that happen?
So I after being at the church and they given me the cornet and I picked up lessons, I then went to my secondary school, which is the same school that your sister works at, which is the MD of Harworth, which is Claire. And I was having trumpet lessons with some of the teachers there and the staff, and she was like, do you want to play in a brass band? I was like, well, I used to play in a church band, a church brass band, and I was like, I'll have a go. So she invited me down, and this was 2009. It'd be about November time, 2009. I was year 7, and I was so excited because I went to my mum and dad. I went, something weird just happened because we'd moved house and we'd moved up to the area. And I was not intending on carrying on playing cornet properly. I thought I'd stick with trumpet, go into orchestras or wind bands, you know, where trumpet players go. I said, I've been asked to play cornet in a brass band, and I'd never heard of a brass band. I'd only heard of, you know, church bands, orchestras. So I was like, I'm going to go, and I was really excited. I said I'd been asked if I wanted to come for a blow. So I took my trumpet, which didn't fit in because even though they are the same sounding instrument, in a brass band you can pick out the trumpet quite clearly. So I got given a cornet, and I hadn't held one of them in a few years. So it's been about 2 years since I hit one of them. No, 2010, so it's been a year. And it was just like, it felt good. So Claire invited me down and she put me on third cornet with Julian. I was in between Julian on third cornet and the legendary John on B flat bass. Rest in peace, matey. And that's where my brass banding thing started.
Ah, well, there you go. So what do you remember most about your first rehearsal?
Oh, I'm, if I say a word that needs bleeping, you can say it, but I was shaking like a dog because I was joining people who've been playing for years, like John Blundell, the bass player, God rest him, he was a wonderful man. He was playing the biggest in who was playing B flat bass, and there was Julian, and then there was your nan Jeannie, God rest her, who I was there going, and she'd been like, I've been playing 50 odd years, and I'm there like going, Claire's just invited me down. She thinks I can have a go on third cornet. So I was nervous as hell, and it was just after the first piece we played was Procession to the Minster. And the reason I remember that...
Lovely piece.
The reason I remember that is because Julian's first words to me was, I hate this bugger. And that was it. And ever since then, it's been one of my favourite pieces.
I was about to say, who were the characters in the band back then, but I think you've kind of mentioned them.
Oh, when I joined, I was in the third cornet corner with the B flat bass at one side and Julian on the other, and Jeannie. But then we had Julie Fields, who I loved to pieces. She was on Principal at the time. You had you on, I think you were on bass trombone. You hadn't moved on to first trombone. You're on bass trombone. Warren was still there. Auntie Pat was still there. And they all made me feel so welcome. And it was just brilliant. After that, we got rid of Procession to the Minster, and I was there going, I don't think I'm good enough for this. And then the next piece out was Beauty and the Beast, Tale as Old as Time. I knew that one. Never played it, but I knew it. I'd never heard Procession to the Minster before. And then I was like, right.
One extreme to the other.
I mean, it just shows the variety of music brass banding is. I always think, when I tell my friends I'm playing a brass band, they just think, oh, you play Pomp and Circumstance and, stuff for Poppy Day and Remembrance Sunday. I'm like, no, there's a massive diversity of music nowadays. I mean, in a rehearsal, you can go from The Old Rugged Cross to Star Wars to Nimrod, and then you're like, it's just it all sounds different and amazing. So yeah, but it was that change from Procession to the Minster where it was in 5 flats and I couldn't even remember the 3rd and 4th flat. I'd only got to 3. The 4th and 5th flat. And then it was like, I know this one. And there's a bit where the 3rd cornets have got like an echo. And I played it and I remember Julian stopped playing. And Claire just went, that's what I want. And I was like, right, I think I'm happy here. So that was my first rehearsal.
So be honest, how long did it take you before you stopped being terrified of counting rests?
I'm still terrified now, because if I play a rest, I get it doesn't matter what MD you get, musical director who's in the middle, that one of them will say, that's a rest, you don't play that bugger, or you'll have the stare of doom from when you play a rest. One of them like, you're not playing that. I still hesitate when it's a new piece and I'm sight reading. But no,
so
I'm better now.
First concert nerves. Was it excitement or was it pure panic? Do you remember?
It was, now I can remember my first concert. It was in Sutton cum Land area, somewhere near there in North Nottinghamshire. And it was a bit of a drive. And it was raining buckets. And we got there and we were on the back of a lorry trailer that had been dumped in the park because there was something wrong with the bandstand. So the council had brought... Do you remember this now? This lorry we were on. And it was blowing a gale and my mum and dad stood for 2 hours in the rain to watch me. And I got there, and I was like nervous, and then there was a lady called Steph who was on baritone, and she was like, she went, you get a wrong note, it's alright, it's your first one. And that was it. And then from that, I was like, right. And then Julian said to me, play what you can. You've only had a few rehearsals, don't worry. And then Jeannie just went, just blow the bugger, as she always did. And that was my first concert.
She did.
Yeah, loved your now.
Did you ever pretend to play in the early days when you were completely lost?
Yep.
Do you still?
Yeah. No, not now. If I get lost, I just put the instrument on my lap and go, I have no clue. But I remember when I first started, I got lost and I just was like, I'll just put the valves down, not play.
Yeah.
And no one will notice. And then Claire would be like, Dan, if you're going to play, actually play. I went, why? She was like, you're playing the wrong notes at the wrong time because the valves are in the wrong So even she spotted that I was like, was not doing it. So yeah, when I was lost, I used to pretend, but I don't now.
How did being part of the band help your confidence?
Oh, massively. So I think you probably remember me because you were there when I first started, this little 10, 11-year-old, how old would I have been? 11, 12, somewhere around there? And
honestly, I've had quite a few sleeps since then.
And I forgot the question. What was the question?
How did being part of the band help your confidence?
Oh, my confidence. Yeah, I used to not really talk to people. I was quite quiet. I used to keep myself to myself. And then I realised that I can have a giggle and a laugh at the band. And the fact that I was stood on stage doing concerts where I ended up, surrounded by remembrance concerts where we had choirs and singers, and we had hundreds of people watching, and they're like, I've got to play this part, and it just built up your confidence to the point now where in my day-to-day life I'm there giving presentations, and it builds your confidence. And I think that, plus my performing arts side, because I used to do drama as well, which brought out, because after the banding I really enjoyed more of my music, so I tried to do performing arts, so musicals and things like that, and Claire did those as well. She used to lead them. And that really brought out my confidence to the point where even now when I'm at work and I've got to give this big presentation, I just get into a character of confidence in me and I'm off. And yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. I was actually going to say, did it change how you interacted with people at school or socially?
Oh yeah. I had more confidence at school, and I had a group of friends that, I had my music, because I started playing at Harworth. Then we had more youngsters join, so I grouped with friends with those. And then I would join the orchestra and the wind band at the school, so I had friends with them. Then Claire got me to join the choir, where I started as a soprano, and then things happened, and then I ended up singing a bass. So yeah, I went from very high to very. I used to forget. I remember we were performing Phantom of the Opera. And I could do, the Christine High bit. I used to be able to sing that. Yeah. I can't do that anymore. But yeah, so I got those friends, then my drama friend, and it grew and grew and grew. And then I had my friends as well that came from different areas, and they all bubbled, and we had friends from different year groups. So it all built me up. And I don't think without music, because music in any form to me, whether it was singing, performing, brass banding, it's made me a more rounded person, because, as you know, my day-to-day job is nothing to do with music at all. It's
me neither.
Yeah. But it's I remember, because you say, when you've had a bad day at work, I'm going to play my trombone. I remember you saying that in the first podcast. And that's me now.
That'll, if I get in the car and stuff, I put, it's either my soundtracks, or if I want to do if I want to start blasting out a song or something, I put my songs on. So yeah, different ones for depending on what mood I'm in.
Yeah, I'm the exact. I have different playlists, so depending on my mood, it's different playlists. But like, I can come home from work now and it's 8 o'clock and my new band that I've joined, they just
Yeah.
say, get here when you can, you know, and that's what I do. And it's really lovely.
Was there a moment then that you realised I actually belong here?
It was when my dad became the treasurer for the band it was about 2 years in, and I got you, and you became like my brass band brother, my
Yeah.
original brass band brother. And my dad used to drive me. He used to come home from work, and I couldn't drive at the time. I was 15, 14, maybe even 13. And he used to pick
Yeah.
me up. He used to have my mum used to make him sound, because he used to like listening to the band. So he used to pick me up and drive me to band, and he used to sit and watch and listen and eat his sandwich. And from that, seeing my mum and dad interact with the band, I was like, this band cared for me and they still care for my family. And then my dad's, even when I left Harworth, when I went to university, my dad stayed on. And I kept in contact with the loads of Harworth. And it was when I saw my mum and dad bonding and joining in with little things at the band, and you lot all looking out for me. Like, my mum used to not worry about dropping me off at band if she had to go and sort out my grandma's or something, because she knew I was well looked after. And she knew that I was happy. And when I was sat on the back row causing trouble with Jeannie, and her going, "Oh, I can't. You play this. I'm not playing that one. I don't like it. Why is it so slow?" You know. And I was giggling and laughing with her, and Claire looking at us both, being like, "Can you two be quiet?" And I knew I fitted in. And then me and you staring across the band from each other, giggling, and Steph going to me and going, "Key signature, E flats," and I knew I fitted in. And it didn't matter that I was, 40, 50, 60, even 70 years younger than some of these players. They saw me as, yeah, he's Dan, he's one of the banders, you know.
Yeah.
And as I grew up and I left to go to uni, and then I got my first degree and my second degree, Harworth always asked me, how did you do? And when I got my first degree and I got my first, I
Yes.
remember coming to Harworth and everyone just, Claire was conducting and came in late, and everyone just stopped, and I remember Lynn, who was on principal, just stood up, stopped playing, walked over and gave me the biggest hug and said, "Well done," and just everyone stopped playing. And
Special moment.
it was a special moment, and there's been so many. I mean, you and my dad driving down to your wedding in Kent in my little blue car when I'd only passed about 6 months before, and Dad was like, "Yeah, you'll drive it," and we had music on, and you and my dad were laughing, and I was giggling, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm fitting in here," and
Yeah.
it built up.
I mean,
I'm getting emotional now. Sorry.
and now talking about, I mean, it's one of those things. It's always nice to have you back in the band, especially like say you dep a lot with us as well. But I think there's a few of us in the band as well that miss seeing your mum and dad.
Yeah.
Because it was the only time really that we got to see them properly was through band.
Yeah.
And since they don't come to band anymore, we still talk. Even I talk to your dad.
Yeah.
But it's it'd be nice to see them again soon, hopefully.
I mean, when I left Harworth, the fact that my mum and dad stayed and were doing concerts, my dad was still treasurer, and
It was.
he kept going for as long as he could. I mean, it was just wonderful. And then, I mean, like now, my mum will still get texts from Jan, and who's your mum, and
Yeah.
we'll be like, "Let's go for coffee, come on." And my mum's got a busier social calendar than myself at the moment, but I'm like, go for it. Because my mum and dad sacrificed so much of their time for me and my sister to give us the
Yeah.
life that we've got, to, to support us. I mean, me and my sister are the first in our families to do degrees, and we've both got really far with our studies. I mean, the fact that I'm where I am in the world is because my mum and dad sacrificed so much of their time for me and my sister.
Absolutely.
And seeing them interact with the band, I knew that they had a social life. And like, even like now, I'll text my mum, she's like, "Oh, Claire, I'm off to go for girls' night with Claire, and they've invited your sister." And the fact that my sister didn't come to every concert, but she still gets an invite. We went to your mum, she still gets the invite. And it's like little bits like that. I'm like, yeah, I've moved on from Harworth. I've been in different bands, but I'll still always say, "Oh, if you need me, I'm there." Like for this concert we've got at the weekend coming up, the big music,
Yes.
which I'm so looking forward to. Like, I can't wait. Just seeing, like, yeah, I drive an hour each way to get to those rehearsals to help Claire, so I can play my part. Some people will be asking why. I'm like, because I know that you'd do the same for me. If my band needed a trombone player, I could message you and be like, "Pete, can you come and rehearsal and step in?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, sure." And that's what we have. We've got this community, and it's the support. And I mean, every time I see your mum, I get the biggest squeeze, and the first thing she'll ask is, "How's your mum?" Because if she's not had a text back, or it's that they've been quiet for a while, it's the first thing she always asks is, "How's your mum?" And then with the same with you, when I go to see you, it's, "How's your dad?" And it's the fact that you didn't just take me on, you took me and my family. And it was things like when we used to perform at Rufford, my grandparents that could drive at the time drove up and was sat with us. And you would say, "Oh, that's your dad's mum and dad," and stuff like this. And they saw me go from a very young little boy playing back row cornet to coming back and being an almost 18-year-old adult playing rep and front row and standing up with you. And it was just, I think until you've been in a community like that, it's really hard to be part of. And there's different, like now I play my rugby alongside my band, so I've got a different community for my sport, which helps me get some things that music can't get to. I need to, go for a run and around the pitch and tackle people. But I've got that, and I've got the friends there, and I've got that know different sides of me that I have. And then I have my musical side. I mean, like on Saturday, I was refereeing up in Liverpool, and it was brilliant, and I refereed 7 games, and it was fabulous. And then I was like, right, I'm really sorry, everyone, I've got to run off and play a concert. So I drove all the way from Liverpool back home in 2 hours, which was good going because of traffic. And when I got there, all of my rugby mates were going, "How did your concert go?" Because they know that I've got my music, which is another side of me. And I feel like I've got multiple support networks. Not only have I got my family, I've got my brass band families, my rugby families, which is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But they all are different. It's like my rugby family is people more of the similar age bracket of my sort of generation. Brass banding, I've got people who are different ages from now that you got 10, 11-year-olds up to 80, 90, and I'm learning things from them. But they've got different meanings to me than my rugby lot. But if I need my rugby lot, I go to my rugby lot. But I know that wherever I am, I've got my music.
No.
Sorry, that was a very long answer.
We'll move on a little bit now. No, that's absolutely fine, mate. Let's just, how did your playing evolve then during those early years?
I mean, my playing's changed massively, including changing instruments multiple times. So I started on third cornet 2 with Julian, and then we had a new cornet player come, and I moved up to second cornet, and I was there for 2 years, and it was me and Jeannie, and we were sat together for 2 years. And then Claire says, "Do you want to have a go on rep?" Which is, if you don't know what rep is, it's like that bit between front row and back row, and you're also like an octave below the top, so you're quite an exposed part as well. Because sometimes you've got the same as a flugel, sometimes you've got the same as front row, sometimes you've got the same as top but an octave lower, and sometimes you've got the back row, so you've got to know what's going on. I was there for 6 months, and then Claire was like, come on, you're coming on front row. And I sat there from, it must have been middle of year 10 at school to when I left. And then I left that band and I went to the East Riding of Yorkshire band, took me on the same as Harworth. I got a bigger family in my brass band. I got Jim and James, who became more, again, like my brass band family, my brothers, but in the Hull region.
Yes.
And I was on front row cornet there, and I remember the conductor was a legend of a man called Gary Hallis. And I walked in, and I'd not realised I'd met Gary as he decked for Harworth when I was on third cornet, and I told him how to play a D flat. Me not realising he's like a musical god in brass banding world. So I walked in, and I hadn't clicked that it was him, but he recognised me straight away. Sat me down on fourth man down, and he just went to the band and went, this is Dan. He won't remember, but I met him when he was a little one, and he told me how to play a D flat. And I was so embarrassed. But everyone laughed, and that was when I was like, right, I'm now welcomed into this band. And while I was there, I moved on to percussion, because I could read bass clef, because I'd done lessons with his sister. And then I'd done tenor horn, back to cornet. I went on to back row cornet to give some people a chance to play front row because of my work, because I couldn't put the effort in. So I said, look, if I went on back row, I don't need to practice as much because, well, you should practice much, but I could get the parts easier. Let's give Ollie and Dougie a chance on front row over the, and though we did that. And then as I got from my first degree into my second, they were like, Dan, have you ever played tenor on? I went, a long time ago. And they said, would you mind having a go? And I did. And they said, right, you're going back on tenor horn. And I stayed on tenor horn, and that's where I am now. And then they were like, can you do percussion and tenor horn? I'm like, yep, I'll do that. So depending on what each riding needed, I learnt timp, played in concerts on timp, and won stuff on timp, and then, yeah, it's changed.
Multiple stuff.
Multiple.
Right, so before we finish part one, we're going to do a quick fire round, back to the beginning. So,
Yep.
First thing that comes to your mind, okay? So, first instrument, was it love at first note or instant regret?
Love at first note.
First rehearsal, exciting or terrifying?
Both.
Band uniform, proud moment or slightly awkward?
Slightly awkward because it was huge and didn't fit.
Favourite thing about being in the band as a youngster?
It's got to be playing the really loud bits. when they go, let it rip, and you just go, yes!
Least favourite part of early banding life?
Least favourite?
Least favourite.
Having to remember how many flats there are past 5. When it was 5 flats, I'm like, I can't remember the 5th one. I can now.
Counting rests, nailed it or guessed most of the time?
Guess most of the time, but I've got a technique. It's called counting and knowing when other people come in. So it's a bit of both.
Favourite piece you remember playing early on?
Favourite piece playing early on? Backdraft. Absolutely love playing that.
And we're playing it on Saturday.
We are.
What have we got? Who did you look up to most in the band?
It would have been Jeannie. Your Jeannie.
Not a bad person to go for, mate.
If anyone's watched Brass Staff and how they interacted with Gloria, Jeannie would tell you that was very similar to her when she joined. And that's when I was like, yeah, I've got respect for her. She was a legend anyway. Sorry, next question.
She was. Sorry, it's alright. Best tea break snack?
Tea break snack?
Yeah.
Oh, chocolate hobnob.
Oh, very nice. And last one word to describe your younger banding self.
Cheeky.
Cheeky. Like it. Well, that's been a fantastic look back at where it all started, from those early days in the band room to building confidence and really finding a place in music. In part 2, we'll take things a step further and explore Daniel's wider banding journey, the other bands he's played with, the experiences that have shaped him along the way, and how music has continued to play a big role in his life and career. We'll also talk about what it's like coming back to Harworth Brass, being asked to depth for us, and how it feels returning to familiar faces in a band that played such a big part in the beginning. So stay with us. Part 2 is coming up next. Welcome back to the Harworth Brass Podcast. I'm Pete and we're here with Daniel Whitt. In part 1 we heard all about Daniel's early days with Harworth Brass, how he got started while he was still at school, and the role the band played in building his confidence and shaping his musical journey. In this second part, we're looking at what came next, the bands he's been involved with since, the experiences that have challenged and developed him, and how music has influenced his life beyond the band room. We'll also be talking about what it means to come back, returning to Harworth Brass as a dep, and how it feels revisiting the place where it all began. So you played with a number of bands. Tell us about that journey.
So, following going to uni, I joined the East Riding of Yorkshire band, which was a second section band at the time, and they did competitions called the Areas, and Harworth weren't a competing band, so I'd never heard of them. And so they said, "Oh, you've never done Areas? Right, we're going to take you." And so they took me to Areas, and I did my first ever brass band competition with them. If I remember rightly, the piece was called Ex Terra Lucium, and it was a nightmare to play, but I loved it. I'm pretty certain that was my first one. I've played so many since then. And I got hooked on to doing competitions, and there's a world of brass banding that was beyond what I knew. There was the big competitions. They do nationals where certain bands get to even perform at the finals if they win, which were in Cheltenham. They've now moved to York Barbican, which is going to be really good for the bands up north. But then your big championship section bands, they perform in the Royal Albert Hall. I was like, that's a thing? And they're like, yeah. So I joined them, and we did entertainment contests where we had to perform like 4 or 5 pieces in 20 minutes that were funny.
Yeah.
They got the audience entertained. So I did my first solo, well, not solo, but like standing up performance where I was doing a trio with principal cornet James Kerridge, who is an absolute legend and became my band brother of the North, along with Jim Watkin. And we did, James, myself, and a guy called Rich, we did 12th Street Rag, I love that. And so that was my first piece standing up and playing. And then we got a piece out called, it was a James Bond piece, Nobody Does It Better.
Oh, lovely.
I was playing Fourth Man Down, and parts 1, 2, and 3 were all on cornet, but part 4 was on flugel, and it was paired with rep. So me and Jim had to play flugel together because it was a pen, like 5 of us, all together, and it was principal flugel, Brett and Fourth Man Down playing flugel as backup, euphonium and tenor horn. And I had to stand up for that one, so it got me into a different mind of playing, and it really brought me on. They gave me chances to perform in different instruments and just grow even further. So that's what happened when I joined East Riding. They then realised I could read bass clef and said, "You can read bass clef." I went, "Yeah." They went, "Have you ever done percussion before?" I went, "Well, I've done basic percussion under Gary, where I did bass drum and cymbals and things like that for one of the areas because we were very high filled with brass, and you can only have a certain number of brass at the areas. So I said, well, I'll go on percussion. Me and Tom, who was a young kid at the time, I was 22, he was 14, somewhere around there, said, we'll play percussion. And then a post came out on 4 bars rest, and it says, now seeing Gary Harris, blah, 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 playing this piece. Fantastic to see the 2 youngsters having a blast on percussion. I was 22! And I was like, so I'd done that, but they were like, can you read bass clef? And I'd been taught bass clef, so they said, can you have a go on timp? And I got it right first time. They went, right, can you do timp for the area? They're like, yeah, right then. So I just ended up playing different things. And they basically was like, yeah, we need a back row cornet player. I was like, yeah, all right, give me a couple of rehearsals, they'll get me on the show back into back row cornet playing. Oh, we need a tenor hornist. Oh, we'll do that. And then we ended up doing a contest called Home Firth. And we'd never done it before, and we played Olympus.
Right, yeah.
And it was amazing, and it's got some really great percussion. And I'd only been doing timp permanently for about 4 or 5 months.
Right,
and we won best percussion, and we beat second section bands. And I'm there, and championships, and they're like, the best percussion went to band drawn number 4, East Riding of Yorkshire. And I'm there like going, that's me. And we're all like, we ended up like taking the trophy to the pub, filling it with cider, drinking it.
I remember seeing a photo on Facebook.
Yep.
Yes. With the trophy in the pub.
In the pub, and we then drove the trophy back home in my car, and we seat-belted it down, so it didn't move in the journey. So yeah, that's what happened there. That was East Riding.
I was going to say, is there any performances that really stand out? But I think that's it.
That was one of the. It depends what you mean by stand out, because there's things that stand out for different reasons.
Oh, absolutely. But that's a proper standout one. That for going on to percussion for 5 months and then getting voted for being best section at a contest.
Oh, it was brilliant. And then one of my friends, Tash, you know Tash, who used to play percussion for us.
Still up to that.
She's still up to that. She was playing percussion for Hatfield, and we were against them. And they won overall, fair enough. But she was playing percussion, I was playing percussion, and I won best percussion. So she came to me and she went, I'm not talking to you again. You beat me. I was like, sorry, love, should have done better. And every time I see her now, we'll giggle and laugh, and then I'll just be like, I still won though.
Yeah, you did. You still won.
But that's the friendships you make.
Exactly. And that's brass band life. Toughest test piece you've ever played?
Oh, toughest. That would be, was it Rise of the Phoenix? And it was really hard. It was not nice. We came last, I think. But I didn't like it. I've done some which were like Facets of Glass, which were lovely. Yeah. And the one we've just done now, which was three Hayworth Impressions, and the last one is about a train, and I love it because you feel like a train. But I just could not link with that one with Rise of the Phoenix. Just couldn't link.
Fair enough. So contests, do you love it or do you dread it?
I love it. I absolutely love it. So this year was the first year I've not done a contest, and it's feeling really weird because I usually do an areas, but because I've moved here and I've joined my new band, unfortunately my reffing assessment was on the same day. And I was like, no, I can't do it. I've got to go up to and referee. And I think
the last contest I did, God, when was that? I was messaging my now wife, so that probably would have been the end of 2012 or the beginning of 2013 was the last time I did a contest, and I did it with Tim. Oh. And guess who was conducting?
Was it your sister?
Gary Harris.
Gary Harris! The legend Gary
I think Harris. It was Thurcroft we went with. Butlins.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they turn around to you and say, Yeah, you only have a couple of pints and then go to bed, and then you have 10 and then go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I'd got
Sounds
the chance
about,
to do all this.
sounds about right for brass bands.
Oh,
Yeah. I wouldn't say no to doing them again eventually with people that I know, like yourself or Tim and stuff again, because they are fun. But I don't
yeah.
get nervous.
Depending on what I'm playing at, sometimes I'll get nervous. Sometimes I'm just like, no, I know the piece inside and out. Like when I did Olympus, I knew that piece
Yeah.
inside and out, played it onto, and then I joined my new band and they were like, oh, we're doing a competition. I went, oh, what are you playing? They went, Olympus, we need a timp player. I'm like, I know that piece very well. Oh, how well do you know it? I won best percussion on it. Oh, what did you play? Timpani. They went, oh, brilliant. So I joined, that's how I joined my new band, was through that. And they were like, what do you want to play? I was like, percussion, tenor horn, cornet, you just basically give me an instrument, one rehearsal, what you want me to play. And I love the band for it. My new band, Long Eaton, are absolutely lovely.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So we'll go into a bit about like music and work life. So how has music influenced your career or work in life?
I think it's given me the confidence to do things I never thought I would do. I mean, I'm a scientist at a university. I'm a researcher. Now, I used to hate school. I used to hate.
Yeah.
You know how much I used to hate school, but I used to love physics and I used to love music, and I got a balance where I could link music and physics. Like now in the lab, we have we're allowed to play music when we do certain
Yeah.
experiments. So I will always put my brass band on because I've got memories that link to different pieces, and it gives me the confidence to do things like I got invited out to do a talk on my research in America, and I went on my own. I left the country on my own, flying 17 hours to Hawaii, being paid for by work to go, which was brilliant because I didn't have to pay anything out of my pocket.
Always good.
Always good. I got to Hawaii and I was so nervous, and I remember I was chatting to some people, and they asked me where I was from and what music I was into. I said, "Oh, I'm part of the University of Hull, and I play brass band music." And blah, blah, and I was chatting to them, and then the next thing I knew, it was a social networking event, and a piece came on, and it was the Beautiful South Perfect 10, which is a band
Yes.
from Hull, and I was like, "Oh, that's really nice." And then the next up was Clog Dance. Brass band. I'm like, why in Hawaii am I hearing clog dance? Of all the brass band pieces, clog dance. And then they said that was for our guests. And what they were doing was someone had made a playlist, a random playlist and we were just listening from songs from different countries and different areas and different things that they're into. So they must have just typed in brass band and clog dance was there. And they're going,
Yeah.
I'm like, everyone's like, what is this piece? I'm like, it's clog dance. So there was a brass band piece played in Hawaii at a conference I went
to. Do any banding skills transfer into your job?
Oh, 100%. The confidence of standing on a stage and performing, and I mean, you've got your piece that you're playing, and you've got to stand there with confidence and push it out and connect with an audience. Now, when I'm at work, I've got to connect with scientists and push what I'm doing and show them the importance of it. But also, you've got to have that balance of fun and enjoyment and listening to the person in the middle. For example, me, you, and Tim, when we got to do Old Rugged Cross together, when I was on solo horn, you were
I was on solo trombone.
Yeah, and Tim was on E flat bass. And if you don't know the piece, it's got a lovely part where it's trombone, E flat, and us three, we were pulling it around and really getting into the swing of it. And Claire was like, "Listen to me, this speed." And I was like, "Sorry," but then she realised it sounded really good, so we communicated with her like, "We're going to pull it about. We're going to have some fun with it." And I think at the concert, we were chatting and someone came up to them and I remember them saying, that's the best I've heard that piece, because it was so, you could tell you three were enjoying it. And as
It was
me, oh yeah, me, you and Tim always have fun when we're doing that piece. And that that was the first time I got to play the solo horn part. And I was like, oh, it was brilliant.
It was good. It was very good.
So yes, brass banding does link. It's giving me the confidence to stand and do things and also find methods of relaxing me. So when I'm stressed with work, I'll put on brass band music and I'll put on things like Lady Stewart's There, which is a beautiful slow piece, and it will calm me down. Or if it's like, right, I've got work to do, okay, in comes the Imperial March, I'm there, focused, spin coat, dump, and I'm off. Yeah.
And you listen to this podcast?
Oh yeah, I do listen to this. Yeah, I sent you a photo because I was writing some document up, and I had this playing. And I sent you a photo being like, "Pete, I'm listening."
It was very good. I remember it put a smile on my face when you sent me that. So how do you balance music with everything else now then?
How does what? Sorry.
How do you balance music with everything else?
So work is I've got a lot to do with my job. My job is very busy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really lucky that I've got a line manager that knows that I have to go and, my rugby and my band are important to me. So when I need to go and, I've got a concert or a contest, he'll be like, right, make sure you leave at 5. Don't stay doing experiments till 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And he will go, oh, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm refereeing over in this city, or I'm playing in a concert. And he'll go, oh, enjoy. And my band have also realised that my job isn't 9 to 5. It's very much I stop when the experiment is finally finished. I can't stop it. I'm not allowed to stop it because some of the machines as well, if you just leave it halfway through, it's not safe. So they're like, if I just have to message him and be like, I'm running late, or, I'll be there for the second half, and they go, yeah, right, no worries. I mean, I rang you up when I was driving up being like, I've only just left Nottingham, and you're like, we've got you a chair ready, and I just, Claire rearranged the schedule so the bits that I wanted to do were when I got there. And that's what we did. Yeah. And it's just so nice that I've found a band that will allow me to do that locally. And when I come in depth for you, you understand that I have a long commute and work can take a
absolutely.
But
yeah, absolutely.
Both the bands, whether it was East Riding in Hull or Long Eaton here, know that Dan said he's coming, but he's not here yet. He's probably stuck at work. And if I don't get there, they'll message me just checking, you all right? I'll be like, yeah, I'm still here, still at work. And that's that community feel.
Yeah. So back at it. So you returning to Harworth Brass, so the get work now. You're regularly now asked back to Dep, especially with being back in Nottingham. How does that feel?
Amazing. It's like returning home. It's like I got my job down here, and Claire was like, "Do you fancy coming up to Dep?" And it was when we're doing, I think it was a remembrance concerts, and we had like Old Rugged Cross, Pompadour, and I covered for Dawn on solo horn, because Claire was like, oh, I need a cornet player. I went, I'm mainly on horn now, but she's like, oh, even better, I need a solo horn. I was like, fine, I'll cover solo horn. And I remember she was like, yes. And then you asked me to Dep for the film concert, and I love it, because it means like I've got my main band, but then I've also got like my old my old starting band back. I'm nearer to, because I'm quite near to you now. Yeah, it's still an hour or so, but it's better than 3.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And I get to see you, and I get to see Rachel and your kids, and, I'm nearer to my family. And it's little things like, my band know that I'm depping for you on horn, so they all know that I'm, if I'm not there or whatever. But then they'll also be like, oh, damn, we need a second horn dep. I'm like, yep, on it. I've got me on, and that's it.
Well, there you go. Is there a sense of pride returning to where it all started?
Yeah. I think it's more of a sense of how far I've come. From the little boy sat on third cornet with John Blunder one side going, that's the wrong note. And Jeannie going, blow the bloody thing. And Claire going, watch me, and Steph going, where's your E flat, to me sitting on a principal seat like solo horn or depping when I used to dep on front row corner for you and I sat second man down with Lynn.
Yeah.
Showing that, in so long I've come from that little boy in the corner to where I am now. And it's that. And I love it. And even now, like when I play Schindler's List, Dawn will say, it sounds better and better each time. Even though, she's not going to be there for the concert, I know I'm making her proud. Even though I'm covering for her. It's the fact that I'm still making I'm covering her seat. She's there listening, going, yeah, that's what I want. And Claire goes, yeah, that sounds lovely. And they're going, how did I used to be so nervous on third corner? And now I'm like, yeah, give me Schindler's List and play that. Give me Jurassic Park where I'm on my own and no one else is playing. And I've got to do the beginning of that. I love it. It's just I'm so proud.
Well, that's good. Is it harder or easier going back as a dep than being a regular member? Or do you just feel like you slot back in?
Right. In terms of the band, it just feels like I'm slotting back in because I still know most of the band. And the newbies that I don't know, I get introduced to, and they'll be like, this is Dan. He was basically sat there. He is basically I'm like an honorary member of your band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an honorary member. But then it's like, right, I've got to sight read the parts, and I'm still a bit weak at sight reading. I can do it, but but then it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm too busy focusing on the notes and forget the key signature. So, for example, in Wicked, I'll forget it's a B flat, and Claire will just stare at me. I'm like, sorry, Claire.
All right, bit of reflection now. How important was Harworth Brass in your journey overall?
I don't think I would be where I am today without brass banding, and it started with Harworth. Like, yeah, it started at the church where the lady gave me the cornet, but I knew I wanted to do something musical at school. And it was when I found that, this band is where I fit. This band is where I can be me, I can grow, I can be the cheeky little me in the corner, I can be carrying people's instruments, I could see my mum and dad fitting in to the point where Caroline on youth and my mum were bouncing off and giggling, and my mum will make a joke, or my mum will say something and Caroline will make it into a joke, and that community spirit it made me realise that I'm so lucky to have had that.
Brilliant. What does banding mean to you now?
Now it's tradition, keeping the tradition going, keeping things going, doing things like remembrance concerts. That always gets me.
Yeah.
I'm stood there I can remember doing it in Withensea, and there's 100 people, and there's old soldiers, people who've lost people in the war, and I'm there with James playing Last Post, and then we do Old Lang Syne Last Post, and they're getting emotional. Or when we're in Retford Town Hall and the poppy drop and we're all stood there silently, showing that remembrance, but also the history of banding itself. Whip Friday marches, going around doing the Saddleworth run and drinking a pint and showing where the the community spirit, and I am very lucky to be part of it. And it's something we should have more people going into, I think. It's keeping the tradition going. And for that to happen,
I agree.
You've got to have the quiet kid going who plays the wrong notes in the corner. But if you want, the changing of the guards and, the big things, the last night at the proms, all those trumpet players and the horn players, if you want that, you've got to have these starter bands and these brass bands of the community that will take on the kids, that will take on and watch them grow. And so it's that tradition of bringing them through.
There you go. Right. It's time to put you on the spot again.
Oh, is it? Right. Wide at the ready.
Part 2 quick fire round. You ready?
Ready.
Favourite contest march?
Ravenswood.
Hardest test piece you've ever played?
Rise of the Phoenix.
Best band you've played with? You can dodge this one if needed.
Oh, no, I can't answer because they're all, I love them all for different reasons.
No worries. Worst band bus journey, long or very long?
It was very long. We got stuck coming back from Durham in the snow. And we're all like, oh, we're actually going to get home.
Oh, that's always fun. Favourite venue you've performed in?
That would have to be Silby Gardens Orangery, the glass conservatory room. The acoustics in there are beautiful. The lighting is wonderful. You're within nature, but you're inside, and the audience can hear. It's wonderful. I love it there.
Indoor concert or outdoor bandstand?
Indoor concert in winter, bandstand with magnets in summer. Make sure you bring your magnets for the wind.
Best section to sit in?
Best section. Tenor horn. I love it. I love sitting there.
One thing every great band must have?
Banter. You've got to have a laugh because you'll be doing long concerts and things. You've got to have that giggle and that laugh, and that banter brings on the community spirit, I think.
Cool. Biggest musical influence?
Philip Harper. I love his pieces and I love what he does with Corey.
Nice answers. One word to describe banding now?
Family.
Coming back to Harworth Brass, comfort zone or still a challenge?
Both. Comfort zone because I'm with people, but then Claire puts me on higher seats, so I have to challenge myself to play them.
Well, that does bring us to the end of today's episode of the Harworth Brass Podcast. A huge thank you to Daniel for joining us and sharing his story from those early beginnings right through to where he is now. It's always special to hear how banding journeys evolve, and even more so when they come full circle back to Harworth Brass. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with fellow banders, friends and anyone who loves brass band music. And keep an eye out for the future episodes where we'll be speaking to more people connected to the band, past and present. Thanks for listening. I've been Pete, and this has been the Harworth Brass Podcast. We'll see you next time.